Isn't this a sports show?
Clinton has said, accurately, I might add, on the Facebook page. Almost Entirely Sports, a show where Josh reads all of his tweets, and I have no counter-argument to that. That is true and fair.
Almost entirely.
Excuse me. I'm talent. I'm talent, sir. Unhand me.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
I am Joshua Brisco. Rudy with the reverse slam. Beard with a judgmental gaze. What's up, Beard? How you doing? I'm here.
Take the show with you by listening on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app at 810WHB.com or by searching for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Is this the most important thing I could be talking about? Well, I mean, probably not. Debatable.
This is Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
A beautiful evening for some chicken, as it always is. A beautiful evening for some pickleball, as it pretty much always is. A beautiful evening for some Almost Entirely Sports here live, if you haven't guessed, from Chicken and Pickle out here in North Kansas City. Just an hour of AES for you here tonight, following up the program. And an hour will be nowhere near enough to get through every single thing I want to talk about tonight, but we'll have more time to talk tomorrow, more time to talk on Friday. In the meantime, though, I want to tell you what we're doing out here at Chicken and Pickle, and also tell you a couple of the things I've already gotten to see out here just in today's day one of our two-day event. It is Kansas City's first ever pickleball championship out here at Chicken and Pickle, brought to you by NetSmart Michelob Ultra. Right now, I am sipping on a beautiful Michelob Ultra, which I think is not an FCC violation as long as Beards is not. Beards, you're sober, right?
I'm good. Just got sweet tarts. That's all I got.
Whoa, whoa! I don't know. Whoa.
Well, we just broke an FCC violation.
I don't know. Is anybody else there in the building to make sure you don't go overboard? Because I've seen you with a handful of sweet tarts before. And
they're the very little ones, so I'm good.
Okay.
Well, how many have you ate, Beards?
That's
I've only had like 5 or 6, and they've been yellow mostly so far.
Well, the
Wait
yellow.
a second.
Are some of them stronger than the
Wait a
others?
second.
Now that I want to know more about this rich.
No, it's just
this
yellow
rich,
is my least favorite of them.
Okay, so
Sorry, I get that. I eat your veggies first, but veggies are sweet tarts for Beards. I get that. But I'm currently having a beautiful Michelob Ultra. I was thinking, I don't know that I've had one before, and it's wonderful, incredibly pleasant. So they are helping bring all this to you here today as well, along with Reed Buick GMC. Got a beautiful GMC Yukon over our shoulder right now. Come by it. And also brought to you by Block & Company, by Charlie Hustle, by, of course, Chicken and Pickle. And also our friends at CBD American Shaman are here. Had a good chat with them before the show started. Always good to see them at all of the events that we're able to all put on together. It's really been a very, very it's an incredible spot out here at Chicken and Pickle. And the actual tournament itself, a lot of fun, and tomorrow will also be a lot of fun. You can come watch, by the way, if you'd like. That starts at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. I'll be out here. I'm still not sure that I'm on an official team or that there's anybody that's going to let me play with or against them. But at some point on tomorrow night's show, Rudy, there is an incredibly good chance that you and Beards are going to be hosting the show because I am ripping off my shirt sleeves and fully hulking out to play what is truly my favorite game, which is pickleball. And I'm honestly, really not being sarcastic.
So even if the teams are full, I don't know if obviously we did the night show, not necessarily around during the day. So maybe you don't fully know what all the hosts and personalities of A10 look like. I would say odds of somebody getting hurt are high. I will be stunned if by the end of tomorrow night an 810 employee has not pulled a muscle.
So you're saying that maybe I can be an injury sub.
Let's just say maybe the teams are full, because I'll be honest, I don't know. Maybe there's a spot for you, maybe they're full. What I'm saying is at some point there's going to be an open spot because somebody's going to get hurt.
And I think that's perfect for me because I also don't want to be the one that does get hurt or that I get clearly gassed after 3 games. Like that feels like a bad place for me to be. But if I can swoop in and, carry Team Bucati to the just get through another round. If I can be Chad Henne for somebody else's Patrick Mahomes tomorrow and I can shine in a big moment, I'll take that.
So my early guess is, and he says he's not going to get hurt, but I'm going to give his reasoning for it and why I actually think this will cause him to get hurt. Lebo says he will not put out the effort to get hurt, but when you play to not get hurt, that's when you get hurt.
Rudy, that is true in almost every sport except pickleball.
True, that's a fair point.
At pickleball,
which I will say,
you get what you give,
I don't know if you know about this. shout out to Nate. He will not be here tomorrow because he now is calling a Gold Cup game for Fox.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. So
all right.
shout out to Nate Bukaty.
I do think he was my best chance to
there's
allow
an
me on
open.
his team.
But I believe his team has an open.
Oh, wow.
So there might be the
Okay.
open spot there.
All right.
Because he's out. So it might be Corey. Might be you. Maybe Corey.
Well, maybe somebody else took the team.
Well, you can trade.
You can come out here again tomorrow. All the festivities are going at 6. We've got mascots that are coming out here. Casey Wolf and Blue from Sporting KC, Calvin from the Comets, Mac from the Mavericks. I'm glad to have all their names also.
Calvin from Calvin.
From Calvin and Hobbes, and Mac from the Mavericks. I couldn't think of another Mac. That's all from 6:30 to 7:30. I got a little photo booth behind us again. CBD American Shaman is just a little bit away from us right now, doing some product sampling, all sorts of great stuff out here. Also, a portion of all these proceeds are benefiting both the Victory Project and the Hispanic Development Fund, two great charities that we're happy to be able to help here. And we'll see if I step in somewhere tomorrow or not, we'll find out. But if nothing else, you can come watch everybody else play, and then we'll do our show out here live from 7 to 10 tomorrow night. In the meantime, though, we'll actually talk about a few of the things that have happened these last several days. The week of baseball that we just had, without having any actual games that count, was super interesting for a variety of reasons. One, did the MLB draft sneak up on everybody else?
Oh, yeah. I know. Until 2 days, I saw an article basically, I guess at this point about 4 or 5 days ago saying, hey, final mock draft coming up in 48 hours. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like,
wait, why? But
the draft is close, so like a week away.
For the draft, you're telling me? For the MLB draft? That doesn't seem right. In fact, Beards was actually over at the house because we were having a Suns and 3 party or whatever.
The first round happened during the NBA Finals.
That's right, which seems like
an
bad
event
pairing.
that they are trying to that they have actively talked about trying to grow. I think they know it's never going to be what the NBA and NFL draft is. In part because you don't see these guys for 4 years,
right?
And another part because there's no trades,
right?
Like you cannot trade.
I feel like they should just change that rule, right?
That feels like it. That's such a dumb rule.
Here, I'm gonna be
trade draft picks. I'm sure the argument is, well, there's so many draft picks, it's hard to get. You have people who you pay like.
I'm going to be very vulnerable.
Thousands of dollars. They can figure this out.
I'm going to be very vulnerable about what I do and don't know at the moment.
Yeah.
I did not ever even consider that you could not trade draft picks. Of course, it never came up in like the normal conversations. Yeah. So I guess I should have. If you would have made me think about it, maybe I would have gotten there.
And the weird part is,
but why is it a rule?
You can trade international draft slots. So like they also with the international, like it's not.
What
just,
are we doing, baseball?
Like it's not just fair game. Everybody has a pool. And they have like little value, like I don't remember specifically what it is. It might be like 5 little, essentially picks that aren't really picks that are assigned money, and you can trade those. So why can't you trade draft picks?
There's a guy with a Milwaukee Bucks T-shirt here, and I don't want to have to fight a stranger, but he's wearing a Milwaukee Bucks T-shirt. He's walking right by like he didn't even hear me.
He didn't.
I'm not sure that is that speaker on?
It should be.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Milwaukee Bucks guy. You keep walking. Suns in 4+1.
It's a gentleman's sleep.
By the way, Suns-Bucks Game 4, that's tonight here on Sports Radio 810. So keep that in mind. Sporting Kansas City show will be on after us here tonight. But anyway, the draft snuck up on me, and I really like the NFL draft.
Yeah.
I think the draft process is fun.
Yep.
And baseball has not done a very good job to our just mentioned point of sort of celebrating that. But you asked me a question before the show, and I told you I didn't want to tell you the true answer until we got on the show because I think it's part of the fun.
To be fair, you didn't give me any answer.
Right. I did not answer.
You didn't give me a fake answer either.
Well, true. I did not give you an answer because I wanted to answer it on the show.
Yeah.
And you said, did you watch the Home Run Derby, or like how much of it did you watch? Yeah. And then I also wanted to mention the All-Star game. Mm-hmm. Beards, how much of the Home Run Derby plus All-Star game did you watch?
I was here running the Home Run Derby, so I would glance up every once in a while and go, oh, he hit that ball really far, and then I would look right back down at my laptop.
Rudy, what about you?
I watched all of Salvi's rounds, and I watched all of Shohei's rounds. And then
what about the All-Star game?
It was technically on my TV. I was doing stuff like on my computer, so it's on the TV, but I had it completely muted. And so every now and then I basically would do the Beards, and also the same thing for the All-Star game. Technically, it was on my TV, all 9 innings, and I had it muted for all 9 innings. And I probably watched 5 minutes if you add up all my glances.
I'm going to continue playing this game. How much do you guys think I watched of the All-Star Game plus Home Run Derby?
I would
Whatever unit of
feel
measurement you think is worthwhile.
I could see you have not having watched any. Because the Home Run Derby, was that also during?
No, it was the next day. It was after. It was the day after game.
I would be pretty surprised if you watched any of the actual All-Star game. I would think maybe you tune in for the Home Run Derby, and a large part because of Shohei. Just because, right? Like there's a little bit. It's Shohei. There's Sal. There's enough storylines there. I could see you maybe just like popping it on for a little bit.
I watched almost every single pitch of both events.
Woo! Look at you.
How shocking is that?
That is surprising.
I watched almost every. I missed like a half inning of the All-Star game, and I missed like a round of somebody I didn't care about in the Home Run Derby to go like put some pizza in the air fryer. That's basically what I missed over the course of both of these. I was surprised that I watched them all, but there was something to it, man.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of buzz, a little hype for me. It is definitely the first baseball game, not including the proper Kansas City Royals, that I think I have sat down to watch the first pitch of and watched the last out of in who knows. I think I did that for whatever the clinching game of the World Series was.
Yeah.
That is definitely the last time.
I basically took the same approach for both, where it was like Shohei and Salvi. When they're up there, I'm dialed in. So I watched the entire first inning of Shohei.
Pete Alonso he was just vibing though. I was like, I'm gonna watch what he does now. He's absolutely throwing up hacks.
And I will say, like, because again, like, and part of this was like, there were just part of it was just like having like a free night to do other stuff. It's like, whoa, like, because normally we're working, right?
For me, I expect to do that. Whenever there is a night off for an event that I don't care a whole lot about or whatever, that'll be the second screen thing.
Sure.
Or maybe I'm just going, you know what, I'm going to take off this random Monday because the Monday Night Football game tonight is two irrelevant NFC teams or something, right?
Whoever.
To be honest, it's the NFL, so that is on a TV somewhere around me because it's the NFL and I'm sick.
Yeah.
But I had the exact opposite urge for the Home Run Derby and the All-Star game. In both instances, I went, I don't have anything else I got to do tonight. It's a pretty slow sports week. I used to really like baseball. I used to love baseball. We've talked about this some, and I just sort of burned out. I think partially, like a little extra hype with Shohei Ohtani. It was like a thing. I'm never, ever, ever going to watch a guy go Home Run Derby first pitch of the All-Star game, also get 2 at-bats. I think he had 2 at-bats in the All-Star game as well. We're never going to see that again. So I wanted to watch it, and I actually legitimately enjoyed it.
What will be interesting is, like, you say we'll never see it. Well, we may see him do it.
That's true. We'll never see another player do it for the first time, for sure, because he's broken that scene.
Also, it will be interesting, and this is a whole other tangent, just on how much he changes, like, the high school and college game. You see a little bit of two-way guys in college, not a lot. You see a little bit of it. When I was at Kentucky, we had a guy, AJ Reed, who was the SEC player and pitcher of the year because he hit like 30 home runs and went 12-3 on the mound.
Yeah.
But he was like one of the only guys in college baseball. And in high school, you see more of it, but it's still so specialized. Shohei may open that up. But I was very much like, just like, hey, I think that was the thing. The Shohei hype, I think, had people. So I know
Salvi was catching the first inning. He was obviously in the Home Run Derby.
I know it was the most home.
Pete Alonso got interviewed.
The Home Run Derby had the best rating since 2017, which was
interesting.
Miami was Judge and Stanton, and so it's Judge and Stanton and Miami. You know what I mean? Like, you're just going to see home runs fly, and you had that.
Everyone wants to feel Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa.
There's
stuff
that statue in center field that lights up when there's a home run hit. That was
I'm so mad that's
honestly.
Gone.
That might have been the last home run derby I really watched.
Yeah?
It's certainly the last home run derby that I have memories of, so it's probably the last one where I really was focused on, because that's kind of what it takes, and this year's had it. And I think that leads right into the actual game itself. Shohei is doing something. I mean, not only is he literally doing something on the field that no other baseball player has done since Babe Ruth, he's doing things that Mike Trout's never done, which has gotten the random person to be interested in baseball.
I think that's it. And also, people have been clarifying this, and I'm going to continue to do it. I mean, listen, he's not very interesting. He's great at baseball. He's kind of boring.
He's boring.
Babe Ruth didn't do that.
No.
Babe Ruth pitched for a while and then hit for a long time.
Yeah.
Shohei is doing it both. Like, he's doing it simultaneously. But you're right. It's not just that.
In a tougher league where we literally talk about all the time, where I don't know, where bad pitchers are throwing pitches that I don't know how they're ever hit.
Yeah, it's impossible.
And that's the bad pitchers.
It's impossible.
And then you have Jacob deGrom, who has like a sub-1 ERA.
And he's doing both things at a super high level. He's also hitting bombs, and he's fast. Like it's anything you could ever ask
set the
for.
record for most home runs hit by. I think it was just an Asian player in general, or even just a foreign player in general, not just Japanese. I know Hideki Matsui had the record of 32 or 31, and he already has 32 or 33.
I think it's 33 in the first half of the year, and obviously, and there's some stuff around. And we won't get to this tonight probably. Maybe we'll get to it over the next couple of days. But, you had Stephen A. kind of do the language barrier thing and do it pretty indelicately. But, like, the thing with Shohei Ohtani is that he is so interesting and so excellent that he has found stardom where Mike Trout does speak the language that most people here speak. And I don't care about Mike Trout. I do care about Shohei Ohtani. And I care a little bit about Pete Alonso now because apparently he can go up in a huge moment and literally just be vibing to the music, hitting absolute bombs. That's awesome. And baseball was actually able to showcase those two guys, a handful of guys, pretty well over the course of All-Star Weekend. Like I enjoyed seeing that, and I didn't really think that I was capable of caring that much ever again.
One of my favorite things that Pete Alonso says, I remember this was back when I had a subscription to Baseball America and reading an article about how he really struggled in the fall league, and basically because it was any time anybody threw a fastball over 95, he just couldn't catch up to it. And then he's literally in the big leagues in April, and he sets the record for most home runs hit by a rookie, and he's won back-to-back home runs derbies. And then
in fairness, he was hitting sub 95 mile an hour fastballs in the home run derby. Although his pitcher was on. Did you see this? Like the spray chart?
The pitching over.
He was perfect. Yeah. He was there every time.
Yeah.
We got to take a break because I want to talk about some of this stuff and also the Royals draft with David Lesky of Inside the Crown. The Royals did a couple interesting things. I wanted them to draft Kumar Rocker. That shouldn't be surprising. And they didn't. They did a little bit of shuffling around, and we'll see how that pays off. I want to know what David Lesky
they went
thought
with one
about
of the
that.
other highly available, talented guys that were there.
They went with a highly drafted pitcher because they drafted him there, even though he wasn't probably going to be maybe even a first-round pick before they decided to do it. We'll talk to David Lesky of Inside the Crown about all of that whenever we come back here on Almost Entirely Sports live from Chicken and Pickle and the Kansas City Pickleball Championship.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page. You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
He had 2 homers, and they were both to Vogelbach of the Mariners, who is a large adult son, and he, he's so much fun to watch. Not because he's good, but he's just a big boy. And I like watching big boys.
With Joshua Brisco.
Fine, I like watching big boys hit.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Let's talk about some big boys and also some, advertisements with David Lesky of Inside the Crown here. We're live, by the way, at Chicken and Pickle for the Kansas City Pickleball Championship. Come out tomorrow at 6, and we'll do it all again in our second day of the tourney. But today we've got a short show, and we'll spend some of it here with Lesky again. You can read his work at InsideTheCrown.substack.com, on Twitter at DBLesky. Lesky, we were just talking during the first segment about the All-Star Game and Home Run Derby, and you kind of, I think, have a pretty good feel for the way that I feel about baseball, and specifically also kind of national non-Royals baseball. And I will also tell you some shocking news, which is that I watched almost every single pitch of both the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game, and I'm not completely sure why I did that. I enjoyed it.
I'm not surprised that you watched the Home Run Derby because it's nonstop action.
Yeah, that's true. It was insane.
Yeah.
I think that speaks to you. But
Yeah.
the All-Star Game surprised me. That really shocked me because, I mean, it wasn't even an especially good game. It just kind of, it happened, and then it was over, and Liam Hendricks said some bad words, and then that was it.
Yes. I think that was part of it. It was weird enough, right? Like, I was basically in to watch Salvi catch Ohtani. That was sort of like my opening, like, all right, I want to see this. Because I'm in on the Shohei Ohtani thing because it's just super unique and massively impressive. And those are two things that will get me to pretty much any sporting event, no matter what. But then I just sort of had it on. I mean, listen, did I have my Nintendo Switch in my hand during the second half of the game? Of course I did.
You're not an animal.
But, like, there's some of those guys where it's either guys I've heard talked about as being excellent or guys that I haven't really spent much time actually watching. Joe Buck was weirdly dunking on dudes in their earpieces, and then you got some bad words at the end. Like, it was just sort of a weirdly executed All-Star game to go with an absolutely cocaine-y home run derby, and that's how I like my baseball, weird and cocaine-y.
Yeah, no, that's a great description for things that you like in general. I don't think it's just baseball. I think it's life. Did you miss Whit Merrifield's exciting ground out?
I mean, it was the highlight of the game.
Didn't he and Salvi both strike out first, and then Whit? This is how you know I watched it.
You clearly did. Salvi struck out twice. Merrifield struck out once, but then he grounded out, and he got on first base, and that was the highlight of the 2021 season for the Royals.
Yes, I did.
I mean, Salvi. I know Salvi lost in the first round of the home run derby, but Salvi did put on a show. So that might be the highlight.
That's a good point because the reality, and look, people said that he got jobbed on the rankings. The bracket was based on total home runs. Like, it wasn't, nobody made the bracket. It was just 1 through 8, the most home runs. It just happened to work out poorly. But I mean, Salvi had 28 home runs. That was impressive. That was really cool. And it was exactly what we said was the best case scenario. Put on a great show, but not wear yourself out by having to go 3 rounds.
And Pete Alonso seemed exhausted by the end of it. I mean, I think he probably won't hit another homer all year. He's just so tired now.
Well, Pete Alonso is a different character. I mean,
that's true.
That guy, I would not be surprised if he's a polar bear. So if he wakes up in Antarctica in January, he's going to hit a home run. It's just going to happen.
Pete Alonso was surgically, or like, he was built in a lab for the home run derby. Like, he
100%.
He is, like, because we've seen guys like have those big I mean, we've seen a lot of guys have big performances in the home run derby and then struggle the rest of the way. Yeah. Pete Alonso was just built to just do nothing but hit home runs for like 8 months at a time.
Yeah, which is good for him. I'm proud of him.
Me too. I like Pete Alonso now. Let's
go to the intro real quick of talking about big boys.
Yes.
If you've seen Pete Alonso with his shirt off, which is, I mean, not all that dissimilar to just like the random guy you see mowing his lawn down the street on any given day. It's hard not to root for that.
Yeah, 100% agree. 100%. God, I'm glad that we have speakers set up for people to hear this without knowing all of the intricacies of Lesky and his person and just who he is. It makes me very happy.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I'm genuinely thrilled by it. Let's completely shift gears to the other sort of important baseball thing. The MLB draft at least snuck up on me. I don't know if it snuck up on you or not, but we get to the Royals' first round pick. Kumar Rocker is there. There are a couple of highly touted shortstops who were there. And then they draft somebody that I had most certainly never so much as retained the name of, maybe ever heard it spoken out loud. Walk me through a little bit what you were thinking as the draft board was going the way that it was. And then I think the first thing I saw was a tweet from someone who said, hey, Royals pick here is going to get weird. And then everything else happened.
And it got weird. With Frank Mozzicato, the thing that stuck out to me was I wrote up my little draft preview that I put out on Sunday morning, and I saw Mozzicato's name. I read about him. I saw scouting reports, and I thought, okay, they're not going to take him at 7, and he'll be gone by 43. So I'm not going to waste any time with him. Right, because in general consensus, I think, is that he was going to go at the earliest, the back of the first round, and then maybe into the comp round. But he, like I said, wouldn't last until the Royals' second pick. So I hadn't really spent a lot of time on the guy, and then they took him, and I was like, oh, oops. So thanks, Royals, again, always providing. But yeah, he was a surprise pick, and it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of maybe vitriol is a little too strong, but there's a lot of disdain for the pick because Kumar Rocker was there, Brady House was there, Khalil Watson was there. There were some other pitchers who people have heard of who were there, and I don't. It bothers me a little bit because it feels like people are sleeping a little bit on Frank Mozzicato, who I think is a perfectly intriguing prospect. I just don't think that picking him at 7 was the right move, personally, especially without getting. Well, I should. So Ben Kudrna, their second round pick, the guy they got, who will be probably about $1 million over slot, maybe a little bit more, is how they're going to spend a good chunk of their savings, because Mozzicato is not going to cost the full $3 million or whatever it is. I think it would have been better if they could have taken a Will Taylor, who didn't get drafted, I don't think, and will go to college now. If somebody would have fallen to them, the rumor was Ty Madden was the guy they wanted, and the Tigers took him at like 34, 32, whatever it was. So I think, and maybe it fell exactly the way they wanted to, and I just disagree with their draft. But it just didn't seem to work out exactly the way that I would have liked to have seen it. But that said, Mozzicato, he's a good prospect. He's a guy who has a high spin curveball. He's got a fastball with some carry. He's got the ability to control 3 pitches. I mean, that you don't see that in high schoolers that often. And so I think he's fairly advanced. I worry that this isn't the right organization for him because they haven't exactly shown the ability to develop high school pitchers or college pitchers.
Yeah.
Or middle school pitchers.
Yeah.
Or international pitchers.
Yeah.
Or I mean, it's so that's an issue. But yeah, I mean, I think that
you didn't say Rule 5 pitchers, Lesky. Take that. They've got 1.
They've done a nice job with Rule 5 pitchers. All right, I'm not gonna sit here and bash them for that. They handle Rule 5 pitchers extremely well.
Yeah.
So congrats. But yeah, it was a confusing pick. There's been some talk. I heard something about like Scott Boras saying that he had to work hard to get Rocker down to the Mets. So maybe he wasn't an option. Maybe he didn't. Maybe they told the Royals he wasn't going to sign. I don't know. I probably wouldn't have passed on Brady House. I wasn't a huge Khalil Watson fan, so that didn't bother me that much. But I mean, yeah, it's a reasonable thing to ask questions about that.
You mentioned the Ty Madden thing and then him going in the early 30s because this is the part of it that frustrates me, right? Where if you're going to do the underslot thing and you think, you know what, we can get 2 players with X amount of dollars that are both going to be, a 8 or a 9 out of 10 prospect instead of shooting for a 10 and a 4 or something. Totally arbitrary number choices. But, I could come in on that logic, right? I would understand 2 really good prospects as opposed to a great one and then kind of a second choice one, whatever. But that just doesn't simply seem to be where the Royals were. I don't know if you think they could have just still taken Kumar Rocker and then still had enough room to get Kudrna. Maybe they could have done it with Brady House, whatever. I just am left kind of flabbergasted by the idea of making any sort of move that doesn't include getting the most talented prospect, one of the 2 or 3 most talented prospects available to you with that 7th overall pick. That seems like getting too cute to me, even though I know that's something that happens all the time in baseball.
Well, it does, and part of what bothers me about it, I've said this a couple times now, they picked 7th and 43rd.
Yeah.
There was a big comparison to Dozier and Minaya from 2013. But in that year, they picked 8th and 34th. So you only have a gap of 26 picks versus this year's gap of 36 picks. So much can go wrong. I mean, you just don't know who's going to – I mean, you don't know who's going to be there at 34 either. But you really don't know who's going to be there at 43. And so it was a big risk, I thought. And like I said, maybe they really wanted Kudrna. Maybe he was the guy they were targeting all along, and it worked out perfectly for them. And we don't have to agree with it. That's just that's the philosophy they wanted to go with. But maybe not. I don't know, and I don't know that we'll ever find that out. They're not going to go, yeah, we didn't want this guy, but he was there. We had to take him. But it sounds like Mozzicato is going to sign for a little under $3 million at a $5.3 million slot. And Kudrna is probably going to be about $1 million over slot, which tells me, they potentially could have saved money elsewhere, but they should have a little extra to play with. In the 11th through 20th rounds, they can go up to $125,000 on the signing bonus, and if they go over, then it counts against their top 10 round pool. And Luka Tresh is a guy they picked, the NC State catcher. He could be the guy they go over for. And look, if Tresh goes and becomes a big-time prospect as a 17th rounder, they gave, I don't know, $1.2 million to, then it all worked out. And it was fine, but it's just, looking at it from the perspective that we see it right now, it's kind of hard to see, it's kind of hard to see that puzzle coming together.
You alluded to this, and Rudy mentioned it earlier, and it's sort of a weird part of this equation, but whenever you do look at the two pitchers they did end up with, and we're always going to measure them against Kumar Rocker, it's just what's going to happen. Yep. Kumar Rocker has the advantage, though, of not being developed in the Royals organization, which seems like a distinct advantage here. So how much do you worry about what they're going to do with these 2 guys they did actually end up with? And also, this is before the show, Rudy was kind of comparing Kumar Rocker to Brady Singer, really to a lot of the guys the Royals have drafted and have failed to help develop a third pitch or whatever. That's a terrible reason to not draft an excellent prospect, but I do think that it probably comes into the equation of what these guys are going to look like. So how are you doing all that math right now, Lesky, in terms of what does and doesn't concern you and what does and doesn't play a part?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to compare because go back to Chris Sale and Christian Colon, right? Everybody talks about, if the Royals had Chris Sale, they'd have this. Chris Sale may not be Chris Sale if the Royals had drafted him. That's not a reason that you don't bash the pick because it was a terrible decision. But
right.
And again, you say maybe their development issues played into their draft. But fix your development issues. Right?
Yeah.
If you're not willing to take, and again, this is not definitely what happened. It's probably not even probable what happened. But if they looked at Rocker and they said, hey, he's really similar to Singer, that he needs a third pitch and we're not going to be able to teach him, so we're just not going to take him. It's like, hello?
Clean house.
Yeah, right.
Clean house.
Maybe figure out a way to give him a third pitch instead of just ignore the guy. Again, I don't think that's what happened, but if that's part of their thought process, then their thought process should actually shift to changing everything so that they can take the guy who was 1-1 up until 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever it was. So that's another story entirely. But you're always going to compare these guys. it's the same thing. The Royals drafted Bubba Starling. We know exactly what Francisco Lindor has done. We know exactly what Anthony Rendon has done. I mean, it's all these players, and the sad thing is we can go through every draft with this, basically, with the Royals. Pretty much since, I don't know, the Hosmer draft, maybe 2009, because they got, Aaron Crow wasn't a great pick, but they got Will Myers. So, it's been a decade that you can look at the Royals pick and then look at the guys who are way better that they got picked after them. I don't know. At some point, you got to say, are they really drafting poorly or are they just developing poorly? But that's another bigger topic. But yeah, you're going to watch Kumar Rocker. You're going to watch Brady House. You're going to watch Toyle Watson, Bachman with I think the Angels took him. I can't remember now who took him, but Ty Madden with the Tigers. You're going to watch all of these guys. And if Frank Mozzicato, if he gets the big leagues and is a number 4 starter, but Kumar Rocker is number 2, the Royals are going to be bashed, and rightfully so. If Mozzicato doesn't get to the majors and Kumar Rocker is number 5 starter, they did wrong, and ultimately they're going to be judged by the results. Well, actually, I should say they may not even see this through. This front office, it's such a long road for a high school pitcher to come to the big leagues. They may not even get to bear the fruits of this.
Yeah.
I mean, they may not even be in place by the time Mozzicato comes to the majors or doesn't get DFA'd or whatever it ends up being. So it isn't necessarily a make or break for them, but it'll be interesting to see over the next 5 to 8 years how this shakes out.
What's worse or what's better if you say they've just drafted poorly or they develop poorly? And what's easier to fix? I think I know your answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
I think drafting poorly is easier to fix.
I agree. Yeah, I think you're right.
Because you just find a guy who has a better eye for talent. Whereas development does all through the system. But it's a good question. But I think you'd rather draft poorly than develop poorly. Because if you develop well, you can at least sign minor league free agents and do what the Dodgers do and turn Chris Taylor and Max Muncy into All-Stars.
I think you're right. I agree. The somber tone I've developed here is because I don't know that is the more likely answer in this instance, because
maybe they do both poorly though.
Maybe I guess it could be both, man. I hope it's not, because that's a depressing, terrible place to be. But that's where we're at anyway.
2 wrongs make a right. 2 negatives make a positive. So if they do both poorly, they do both great.
Dave Moore won a World Series, so the man's never done anything wrong.
It's a great point,
He's
Lesky.
never done anything wrong.
Checkmate. All right, so
Lesky, if you question Dave Moore, I'm unsubscribing.
And listen, man, the
Royals
Royals
I like it too much.
The Royals would never have won that World Series without Frank Clark. So,
Lesky, I like reading about you passing out at your keyboard from cold medicine. Okay,
that's how you know Rudy.
That's how you know I read.
Rudy's got references.
Yeah,
that's fair.
We'll get you out of here, Lesky. I know you're. It sounds like you've gotten very choked up about them not taking Kumar Rocker, but in reality,
I'm pretty upset. Yeah.
In reality, your sniffles are more cold based.
I was really excited about the idea of having an infield of Brady and Bobby.
That would have been fun.
That just got me.
I was excited about Kumar Rocker's fun.
Yeah.
You know how many college pitchers I've watched pitch multiple innings? Like 2. It's like him and Leiter.
Yeah, I totally I agree with you, Leslie. I don't think the Royals thought this at all. I was terrified of any college pitcher who only had 2 pitches because Brady Sr., Jackson Kowar, Daniel Lynch, and Chris Bubich not really Bubich because he has more than 2 pitches, but those 3 mostly have they've broken me now. College pitchers, I'm terrified of them.
So everybody went from hating high school pitchers because they take too much development, so you got to draft college guys.
I just want high school shortstops.
And okay, there you go. It's all high school shortstops, all that. And look, if you have to move them to the mound, you have to move them to the mound. It's fine.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's the thing. We're in a new era of baseball. Like, if you can't hit and pitch, I'm not even interested. I'm
going to give you a prediction for 2025.
Okay.
ALDS Game 1 starter, Bobby Witt Jr.
Thank you for finally. We've been saying that on this show.
No, wait.
We said 2022.
Is he going to be a rookie?
We said 2022, 2023.
Right?
No, he'll play shortstop and pitch that day.
Yes. Yes.
So so he'll pitch and then run back to his position.
That's right.
I'm fine with that.
And
Yeah.
even, just give us a good 5 and then hop over to third base and play next to a fully healthy Adalberto Mondesi. That's all. That's the future.
That seems all very likely.
Yeah, I don't know. And also, I don't know which one of those things is less likely to actually happen. But that's what we've got the years to find out. Lesky.
All-Star center fielder Michael A. Taylor.
There you go.
He's hanging around, huh? Lesky, thank you as always. Thank you for powering through the cold to be with us here. We'll let you go, and we'll talk to you sometime next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Go make him feel better. You'll heal him if you just go subscribe to the newsletter, InsideTheCrown.substack.com. You can also check out a bunch of his work at Royals Review as well. We're out here live from the Kansas City Pickleball Championship, the first ever here at Chicken and Pickle in North Kansas City. We've got our friends from CBD American Shaman. MLB Ultra has really done great work for me, getting through this first hour. I guess this only hour. This first hour-ish of Almost Entirely Sports. Also, a lot of thanks to give to Reed Buick GMC, Blocking Company, Charlie Hustle, and NetSmart, a Kansas City healthcare technology company redefining community-based whole-person care in our city and across the country. Huge thanks to our friends at NetSmart for helping provide the first ever pickleball championship in Kansas City right here at Chicken and Pickle. We'll take a break. Whenever we come back, we'll wrap up Almost Entirely Sports for the evening next here on Sports Radio 810.
At JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already. This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
I have my headphones over my ears again. I just hear my own sweet, sweet voice, and that's that good stuff.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Just a few more minutes in tonight's edition of Almost Entirely Sports. So, two things I want to get to real quick at the end of the show. We're out here live at Chicken and Pickle for the first ever Kansas City Pickleball Championship, brought to you by NetSmart, Michelob Ultra, Reed Buick GMC, Block & Company, Charlie Hustle, and our friends at CBD American Shaman. We're doing this. We'll be back out here again tomorrow. Come check it out at 6 o'clock tomorrow. You can watch the celebrity division as we go. I'm going to see if I can finagle my way into it. Just get on the court at some point, show off my sweet skills, try to keep my ACLs intact, see what happens.
You just got to walk out there like you know what you're doing.
I do, though. That's the crazy thing is I do kind of know what I'm doing.
Like, did you see the guy who just like walked up and grabbed Rory McIlroy's club?
Yes.
You just do that. You just walk up, you grab somebody's paddle, and you just swing it around like you belong.
I stand next to Corey.
Yeah.
I just give him a good short of shove.
Yeah.
And then I'm in all of a sudden.
Go for the Achilles.
I just put on a golf hat.
Out.
And I say, hi, I'm Corey Anderson. And I'm here to play some bleeping pickleball.
Yeah.
But with all of that being said, I want to make this the last word on the Salvi All-Star or Home Run Derby thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching ESPN2. I was watching the StatCast broadcast because I thought that'd be interesting. I cannot remember Mike. His last name starts with a P. Sort of stats guy from ESPN. I'll have to find it.
Printer.
Nope.
Pringle.
And Jason Benetti was doing the play-by-play, and I was excited to what?
I think it's Benintendi.
Stupid. But I was watching that, and so people were tweeting during the course of the Home Run Derby, like they're talking to Pete Alonso during Salvi. They haven't mentioned Salvi at all. And listen, I'd like to make this clear, okay? Salvi absolutely got the raw end of that deal. I am not saying at all that ESPN did a good job there. I'm really not. I was stunned to learn that that interview took up Salvi's entire at bat. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. And yet, I just don't want to. We've come so far as a sports city. We have Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs are good. They talk about the Chiefs nationally all the time. Yeah. So I just don't want to take a step back to where we get mad at ESPN for not giving enough respect to Salvi or to the Alex Smith Chiefs. We're in a better place now.
Travis Kelce's last name might be the biggest news in sports today.
Travis who?
Kels.
Thank you for getting that correct.
Kels.
We might talk about that. I don't want to talk about that.
We're close, so I say his nickname.
Right, you guys are good friends, you and Kels.
Yes.
So anyway, Salvi absolutely wrong end of the deal on that one. Blame Pete Alonso for old Salvi's entire home run at bat interview. But also, life will go on. You know what would help? The Royals were good again. That would help put a little more respect on the organization. We'll be back here live again tomorrow at 7 from Chicken and Pickle for the Kansas City Pickleball Championship. Bye, Mom.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.